the most important thing for me is truth. So I had a technical misunderstanding of the heliocentric model. You know, nobody knows everything. So it's okay to admit that when you were wrong about something, and it's okay because when you can admit you're wrong, then you can learn. That's how I've always learned, is by being able to admit when I was wrong about something. So my understanding was that the Earth tilted 47 degrees throughout the year. And apparently that's not what happens. What happens in the heliocentric model is the Earth is always at a 23.5 degree axial tilt at all times. And that axial tilt points directly to a point right inside of the tiny circle that Polaris does. So Polaris does a tiny circle every night, and right inside that circle is the North Pole, points right to the center of. So let's say that point's here, but it's, 450 light years away, however far away it is. I don't know the exact distance off the top of my head. But because of that, they say that the Earth is turning, and that's why you see star trails. And as the Earth moves around, by the time the Earth gets here, now we're at the March equinox, and then when we get here, we're at the June solstice. So when we get to the June solstice, the axial tilt is still exactly the same, but now the north side of the globe is pointed towards the sun. And when we get over here, the north side of the sun, the north side of the Earth is pointed away from the sun. So that's how you get your seasons in the heliocentric model. So they've done a really good job at explaining this, and explaining it in a way that it's hard to poke holes in. I've been trying for 3 days and I haven't been able to poke a hole in that specific claim. Now, that doesn't mean that I think the Earth is a ball, because I don't. There's way too many proofs that the Earth is not a ball, such as lasers going over 7 miles of frozen ice and being the same distance above the ice for the entire 7 miles, which is impossible on a globe, because on a globe, you're supposed to get, 7 miles of curvature is somewhere between 16 and 66. So it's about 32 inches, but 32 feet of curvature. I'd have to do the math, but I think 10 miles is 66 feet of curvature, 66.6 feet of curvature. And 6 miles is 16 feet. So it's distance times mile squared. So curvature is 8 inches per mile squared. So let's say you have 7 miles. 7 times 8 is 56. 56. 7 miles. I'm driving. I'm really sorry. I'm like watching the light. I'm about to get a red light so I can talk. But so when you have 7 miles, 7 squared is 49. So 49 times 8 is about 400. Take away 8, so 392. So 392 divided by 12 is about 32 feet. So you have 32 feet of curvature in 7 miles, which you don't see when you put the laser over the frozen lake. And this is an experiment that anybody can do. Just if you want to know if the Earth is level and horizontal, then you just have to measure it, and you can use lasers to measure it. There's been other experiments too, and there's also boats disappearing, and then you can zoom in and bring the boat back. The boat obviously didn't go over the curvature, because you can zoom in on the boat and it comes right back. And now when it comes to refraction is based on the light. And the light, it's based on the light traveling through two different types, warm air and cold air. When there's that type of temperature inversion with warm air and cold air, it can make objects lift up, but it doesn't make every single point on the horizon for an entire 360 degrees all lift up to the same exact point to make the Earth look like it's perfectly flat in every spot on the globe, you know? So at the end of the day, just because you can't prove one thing wrong doesn't mean that that thing is true. There's plenty of evidence that works on the globe, and it works in the flat Earth model. So because of that, you have to find things that work on the flat Earth that don't work on the globe. So you don't, you can, if you want to test the globe, and I subscribe to Karl Popper's philosophy, which is a falsification philosophy. I don't need to create my own model in order to falsify your model. If I can falsify your model, you need to answer those questions. And that boils down to the world record for long distance photography, which is 443 kilometers. And I've talked about that before. In that long distance photography where they use infrared, you can see the top of the mountain. The picture was taken from Pic di Fenestralis, and it's a picture of Pic Gaspard in the Alps, 443 kilometers away. That's a long ways. And there's supposed to be 5,100 kilometers of curvature when you take in the height of the observer, which is 2,800 feet. And Pic Gaspard is 3,820 meters high. And the observer is about 2,800 meters high. So now with 5,100 meters of alleged curvature, based on the curvature model of the heliocentric Earth, the globe Earth, which is an oblate spheroid, they say, the mountain should be 1,280 meters, over a kilometer below the horizon. But it's not. You can see a giant portion of that mountain. And to me, that's impossible if the Earth is a globe. If the Earth was a globe, you'd be able to see it by realizing you can't see anything that's off in the distance because it's behind the curve. When you can see things that are supposed to be behind the curve, now you have to reconsider and say, hey, wait a minute, is the Earth not a globe? And another major flaw that they have is that they say that the Earth is an oblate spheroid. An oblate spheroid is flattened at the poles and a little bit chubbier at the equator. Now, the problem with that is they say that they have gravity. In gravity, it works on a straight line vector from the surface. So all surfaces, they say, are level. At that point on the surface, it acts as level because of gravity. And if you're standing up on the surface of the Earth, now gravity's pulling you in a straight line to the center of Earth. The problem with the oblate spheroid is that with the oblate spheroid, the only 2 points on an oblate spheroid that are perpendicular to the center is the equator and the poles. So on the equator and the poles, you would be perpendicular to center, so gravity working on a straight line vector could pull you to the center, and you'd be standing and feeling like you were perpendicular. But the problem is, in between the poles and the equator, you would have two forces pulling on you. One force pulling on you horizontally, and another force pulling on you vertically, because you are not standing perpendicular to the center, because it's an oblate spheroid. And so their model has to be a perfect sphere in order for gravity to work, and I think a lot of people just don't understand that. So I just wanted to make this quick video. I was on a drive, and I wanted to clarify, because I don't want to put out bad information, and I don't want to misrepresent the heliocentric model. Sorry, I got a call and I got cut off, but I don't want to misrepresent the heliocentric model, and I want to make sure that people that follow me know that they can trust me, and that if I'm proven wrong, that I can admit that I was proven wrong. That's fine. That's how we grow, and that's how we learn. You know, if we're going to be arguing in court, the defense and the prosecution need to know both sides of the argument, so that way they can put on the best prosecution and the best defense. So anyways, this is for entertainment purposes only. All the information is my opinion and my opinion only, and does not represent the views or opinions of anyone else besides myself. Dusty Truth signing out. Peace.